Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. 700 similarities between the Bible and Islam. Stories, theology, laws, beliefs, rituals, and various topics by Muhammad Amin. What you have before you is a comprehensive yet simple. What you have before you is a comprehensive yet simple, perhaps book or work to navigate, or I'm going to re-edit this. What you have before you is a comprehensive yet simple to navigate reference book for most of the similarities between the Bible and Islam. This book is one of a kind due to it covering many of the topics that have been overlooked. Some topics are repeated, but that was done to strengthen the argument of an existing similarity. Page after page, you will find that the similarities are undeniable if you approach this book with an open mind, i.e., an empty cup. Okay, the author of this book is Muhammad Amin. 700 similarities between the Bible and Islam. Muhammad Amin was born in the United States. He has a passion for history and comparative religion. I consider myself to be very fortunate, to be very blessed. If you wish to use the linguistic term or the cultural reference, lucky. I consider myself to be very lucky for this author, this brother in Islam, Muhammad Amin, to reach out to me. I've never met him in person. I don't know him. He knows me not. Perhaps we're from different states, cities, maybe different coasts, East Coast, West Coast, Midwest, down south, maybe from different demographics, ethnic backgrounds, etc. But for him to reach out to me, asking and requesting me to read his book, to review his book, to present his book, to announce his book, to help with the sharing of his book. To have a total stranger, and of course the Muslims are brothers, alhamdulillah, but to have someone who's a total stranger to give you a free book full of knowledge, benefits, wisdom, facts, beneficial information for free. What could be greater than that? What could be greater than that? And alhamdulillah, we see that the book is, just look, over almost 400 pages, thick, juicy steak for free. What could be greater than that? All right. So I'm glad, I'm proud, I'm happy, and I declare my thanks to Allah Subhanahu wa Taala for someone to think good of me and to offer me this beneficial information free of cost. Alhamdulillah. All right. So 700 similarities between the Bible and Islam. Right. The excerpt, the summary is clear, comprehensive, meaty, yet at the same time it's easy. It's manageable. One can navigate through and with this book to find out if there are any similarities, let alone parallels, things that are exact between these two, the Bible and Islam. Now, the reader may say, well, why didn't the author say Christianity and Islam? Why didn't the author say 700 similarities between the Bible and the Holy Quran? Why did he choose to say 700 similarities between the Bible and Islam? As if they're two things that don't mix or don't match exactly. We're either going to deal with the two religions, or we're going to deal with the two holy books. Obviously, the author is free to do what he pleases. I'm sure he has reasons behind that. I have a hunch. I have a little bit of a gut feeling. A few things that I believe, or reasons that I believe, caused the author to word it that way. What's important is that's the author's way. That's his style. That's what he wanted to do. All right. So it's printed in 2022. Muhammad Amin, all rights reserved. That's pretty much most of, if not all of, the printing information. In the book here, the author, we're going to read from the introduction, inshallah. He talks about why he wrote the book. What's the purpose of the book? What's the wisdom behind the book, so on and so forth. And that's something that I appreciate. Many books that we review and we present, someone translates the book or someone writes the book and there's no introduction. There's no information about the author. So that's a plus already. Okay, so let's get started, inshallah. Table of contents. Introduction on page 18. Page 26 says similar stories. 16 similarities. The story of creation, the story of Jesus, the story of creation, the story of Adam and Eve, the story of Cain and Abel, the prophet Enoch, the story of the prophet Noah, the stories of Abraham, his wives, and his sons, the stories of Abraham and Lot, the stories of Abraham, his wives, and his sons, 2, the stories of Jacob, Joseph, and Moses, the stories of Samuel, Saul, and David, the stories of David, Solomon, and the queen of Sheba, the prophets Elijah and Elisha, the prophet Job, the prophet Isaiah, the prophet Jonah, the stories of Mary and Jesus. Section 2, theology. 1, 400 similarities. The Lord's names and attributes. The Lord of heaven and earth, the Lord of all mankind, the Lord of hosts, the creator of all things. The Lord provides for all things, and he is self-sufficient. The Lord does whatever he pleases, and all things are under his control. Success in any affair is only through the Lord. The Lord will hold us accountable for our actions. The Lord is the only true God, and there is none like him. The Lord is the only one entitled to be worshipped. The Lord is the only one entitled to our prayers. Only good comes from the Lord. The Lord's speech and actions are full of wisdom. I mean, just read it from the table of contents. The verses in the hadith should be what? Popping up in your head. Exact matches, literally. Like, not similar, but what? An exact fit. Alright? إِنَّ اللَّهَ طَيِّبٌ وَلَا يَقْبَلُ إِلَّا طَيِّبًا وَمَا تَوْفِيقِي إِلَّا بِاللَّهِ. Okay? ذَلِكَ بِأَنَّ اللَّهَ هُوَ الْحَقُّ وَأَنَّ مَا يَدْعُونَ مِن دُونِهِ هُوَ الْبَاطِلُ. Verse after verse. Exact meanings here. Okay. Praise and thanks are due to the Lord. The Lord is exalted. Glory is due to the Lord. The Lord possesses majesty. The Lord is worthy to be praised. The Lord has eyes. The Lord has sight. The Lord sees all things. The Lord does not sleep or slumber. The Lord knows all things. The Lord hears all things. The Lord possesses beauty. And Allah Jamilun Yuhibbul Jamal. The Lord has a face, countenance. The Lord has light which emanates from his face. The Lord has a voice, form, and he speaks. The Lord laughs. The Lord uses people as messengers. The Lord is the king. The Lord has a throne. The Lord has a footstool. The Lord has hands. A left hand is never mentioned. The Lord possesses strength. The Lord is the Almighty. The Lord is strong. The Lord helps and protects those who believe. The Lord is just. The Lord is the judge. The Lord is the lawgiver. The Lord tests his creation. The Lord can become pleased. This may be a problem for some Muslims concerning sifat, the Lord, the qualities and attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The Lord is the most high. The Lord is above the heavens. It may be a problem for some of us. The Lord is holy. Quddus. The Lord gives life to the dead. The Lord is the first and the last. The Lord is the ever-living. The Lord inherits all things. Allahu Akbar. Number 3, theology. 2, 99 similarities. The Lord's attributes of mercy and forgiveness, how they're earned and who's entitled to them. The Lord guides his creation. The Lord heals people. The Lord answers the prayer of the righteous. The Lord treats us how we treat others. The Lord loves righteousness. The Lord helps the poor, weak, and oppressed. More similarities. Theology 3, 37 similarities. The Lord's attribute of anger, what causes it, and who deserves it. Condemnation of worshiping other than the Lord. condemnation of wickedness. 5. Laws, rituals, and traditions, 174 similarities. Invention of a new calendar, slaughtering animals free of blemishes, appointing judges or assistants to help the leader, having a day once a week set aside for a religious ritual, honoring parents, do not murder, commit adultery, steal, bear false witness, and covet. Prohibition of being nude in public, having servants, treating one's wives equally, and the permissibility of polygamy. Whoa, wait a second, slow down. Wait, I thought Islam or the Holy Quran or Islamists or radical fundamentalists or radical Islamist terrorists or Wahhabis, I thought they were the only people who said that it's permissible for a person to have a servant and a slave. I thought that was only ISIS or ISIL. You're saying in Christianity, in the Bible, people are allowed to have servants? And then the author says, treating one's wives equally and the permissibility of polygamy. Wait a second. I thought Muhammad was the misogynist. I thought Islam was the religion of male chauvinism and marrying women just to have sex with them and having 1 million children and having women who are all poor and dying on welfare, and this one is missing a leg, and this is an old widow, and this one you just marry women, for whatever reason. I thought that was only in Islam. So how dumbfounded would you be if you realized that the book that you claim to believe in, the Lord that you claim to believe, told you and gave you instruction concerning polygamy? Wait a second now. So the author is going to talk about, as we said, why he wrote the book. But I'm going to add something to what the author did not mention. It's not only to bridge the gap and to merge the differences between Muslims and non-Muslims, Christians. People are fighting, cursing, killing each other, calling each other extreme, but not singling out Islam with vilification. Not singling out Islam to be evil and to be archaic and outdated and lacking, progression, so on and so forth. So many people today, they say, if there was Sharia law, hands would be chopped off. If there was Sharia law, you wouldn't be able to go to college. You wouldn't be able to get an ice cream cone. You wouldn't be able to have a chocolate chip cookie if there's Sharia law. Everything's impermissible. Well, guess what? If there was true and authentic Orthodox Catholic law, you wouldn't have your chocolate chip cookie or your ice cream cone. If there was true Protestant practice, the law, the teachings of Protestantism, we wouldn't have women dressing like this. Would there be homosexuals? What does the church, what does the Bible, what does the Pope and the Father, the Cardinal, what do they say about homosexuals and lesbians and fornication and adultery and thievery and stealing? So many people, either out of severe ignorance or we know in most cases very bad intentions, they try to marginalize Islam and make Islam, the Quran and the Sharia, the only source of these uncomfortable topics and discussions. And it's a Muslim thing, a Muslim thing. But in reality, it's a Christian thing and a Catholic thing. So therefore, these people that have these different comparative religious debates, me personally, I wouldn't have a debate with any of them. I wouldn't give you the time of the day if you're a Christian or Catholic or a Jehovah's Witness. And the only person that would get any type of respect with regards to someone trying to find fault in Islam, find fault in the Quran, prove that the Quran is a book of violence and misogyny and slavery and Arab supremacy, is someone who is an atheist. Someone who doesn't believe in any religion, no God. Religion is bad, religion is evil, religion is the cause behind these wars, people fighting, women being mistreated, so on and so forth. But you come trying to find fault in the Quran and you call yourself a Christian? Are you serious? You come and you want to find fault in Islam's legislation concerning jihad, and you claim to be a believer in Christ? Are you serious? Have you not read your book? Have you not read the history of Christianity, of Catholicism? So this is a proof of the value of this book. And I'm adding this, what the author mentioned, as a major benefit of this book. Don't single out Islam. You're allowed, you can do whatever you want to do. The world is free. On the day of judgment, you answer to Allah. I don't believe in any religion, a person can say. There should be no such thing as slavery. There should be no such thing as polygyny, so on and so on. No problem. But don't just make it an Islamic issue and a Muslim issue, because that's unfair and that is extremely deceptive. All right? Or deceitful. Moving forward, the author then says, distinguishing between different types of murder, intentional, unintentional, and treachery. And then he says kidnapping, abusing one's parents, injuring others, defending oneself and property from a thief, being responsible for one's belongings and property, protecting property entrusted to you, not being held responsible for what one hires if it's damaged. Allahu Akbar. Taman. Even the fiqhiyat. It's ajib, yani. Prohibition of sorcery, prohibition of bestiality, oppressing people. Do not charge the believer's interest. Once again, if we were living in a Christian Catholic society, there wouldn't be any interest. It's not just an Islamic Muslim thing, right? It's not just a Sharia law. Why are you so stupid? Why do you lack basic intelligence so much? Or you aren't that stupid and you do have more intelligence, but you're evil and you have malevolent, malicious intentions, evil will against Islam and the Muslims, and you wish to hinder people from the path of Allah. You wish to hinder men from the Quran. And of course the Quran tells us what? All of this. Men will come, they will lie, they will deceive, they will trick, they will misguide intentionally for worldly gain. So this book should be a weapon and a tool for anyone who's being ostracized or marginalized or put into the corner as being the Muslim extremist or fundamentalist, or the one who believes in a old, outdated religion, and most importantly is Islam and the Bible, Christianity, other religions. It's much more than just faith and theology, but it's a what? A law. And the Lord is the lawgiver, the lawmaker. And you as a Christian are responsible for following the laws of the Lord. So many people, they don't realize is that Christianity, Catholicism, these different forms of Christianity and other religions, they've went through major reforms. And what people call Christianity today, the church and the Bible, living a Christian life, is whitewashed, it's bleached, it's Cloroxed, it is sanitized, stripped down to just faith. That's it. Be a good person, go to church, make a prayer, read the Bible, and that's a good Christian life. And we know that that isn't the case. So they accuse Islam of being intolerant, Muslims of being intolerant. That's because you're a fake Christian. Your religion teaches you to hate the infidel and the idolater and those who reject Christ and make fun of Christ. All right, moving forward. It says, do not charge the believer's interest. Be lenient when doing business. Do not revile God or disrespect the leader. Concept similar to zakat, Islamic tax. Prohibition of eating meat not slaughtered correctly. Allahu Akbar. Zabiha. Alright, according to the Bible. Don't spread lies or bear false witness. Do not cooperate upon evil. Do not judge unfairly. Being merciful towards animals. Do not judge unfairly. Do not cooperate upon falsehood or kill the righteous. Do not take bribes. Prohibition of oppression. Small number of ritual feasts like Islam. Allahu Akbar. Small number. Every other week is not supposed to be a holiday and a feast. You're not supposed to be 50 holidays and feasts throughout the Christian calendar. It's only supposed to be what? Limited amount. Limited amount. Moving forward. Washing before religious rituals, ablution, wudu. Making a religious place or religious places or things smell good. Building a structure that is similar to an Islamic belief. Allah's throne. Mentioning of olive oil and praying at night. Using certain clothes for religious rituals. Burning incense during religious rituals. Offering sacrifices free of blemishes. Sins can be unintentional and forgiven. Prohibition of bearing false witness and extortion. Prohibition of eating unclean and impure animals. Prohibition of consuming blood. Christians are not supposed to consume blood. Blood sausage. You aren't a real practicing, adhering Christian. Whether you're in Great Britain, the UK, or whether you're in the Iberian Peninsula, you are not to use and eat the blood that comes from these animals, let alone the pig. And it's well known in many Christian lands, we've just mentioned a few, they are extremely fond of blood sausage or blood soup. They slaughter the pig, they don't discard the blood, they cook with the blood, they use the blood, they eat the blood. Moving forward, using certain clothes for religious rituals, the act of being consecrated, prohibition of being intoxicated during religious rituals, prohibition of eating swine, birds with talons, and hopo, hood. Permissibility of eating fish and locusts. Unclean animals, dogs, and different types of water. Circumcision, and how blood from a woman makes her unclean. Taking preventative measures against sickness. Extensive blood from a woman makes her unclean. Prohibition of consuming blood. Prohibition of incest. And obviously, the author said that some things will be repeated. Did he intentionally mean to repeat those two things? With that gap between the two? I don't know. Or is that a redundancy? Allahu Alam. Prohibition of marriage to two sisters at once. Intercourse with a woman during menses and the prohibition of adultery. Prohibition of homosexuality and bestiality. Being merciful to the poor and needy. Prohibition of stealing, doing bad business, lying, and swearing by the Lord falsely. Prohibition of cheating your neighbor, robbing him, and an admonishment to pay a man's wages on time. Prohibition of mistreating others, dead and blind. Being fair in your judgments. Prohibition of spreading rumors. Treating one's family good and encouraging one's neighbor to do good. Being at peace with one's people and doing good to them. Punishment for adultery and the permissibility of having a concubine. Allahu Akbar. Be mindful. As we say, hold that. Right? Let's talk about Islam. And unfortunately, the Muslims, or whatever they're called, Allahu Alam, within the circle who call themselves Muslims, attribute themselves to the Qibla, these are extremists, they're radical terrorists, they're this, they're that. They have concubines, so on and so forth. Whoa. Slow down now. Because if we find something in the Holy Scripture, who's the real and the fake? Who's the radical and who's the counterfeit? Christian, counterfeit Muslim. May Allah help us all. Moving forward. Prohibition of consuming blood. Once again, divination and soothsaying. Prohibition of certain haircuts and of cutting the beard. Allahu Akbar. Prohibition of mutilation and tattoos. Beard is an extreme Muslim thing. A terrorist if you have a long beard. Right? So next time you're at work or on the airplane or the bus, someone makes fun of you or says you need to cut that off your face, you smack them upside the head with the Bible. Let's see what the Bible says about the beard and how you cannot shave the beard as a man. Moving forward. Prohibition of mutilation and tattoos. Prohibition of prostitution and causing corruption in the land. Honoring one's religious day. Prohibition of seeking help from spirits, jinn, and those who work with them. Honoring elders. Treating people good. Do honest business and be fair in judgment. Similar verse endings about the Lord. Prohibition of idolatry. Prohibition of using mediums and spirits. Death for adultery. Death for homosexuality. Prohibition of laying with a woman on her menses. Command to distinguish. In the book, it is not meant to show and to prove everything in the Bible is correct and accurate according to our law. That's not the point. The moral of the story is to show the similarities, let alone exacts and parallels. And that there are rules and injunctions in Islam which Islam is not to be picked on, marginalized, and singled out and bullied. As if our religion is the only religion that says you can't do this with regards to your sex life, with regards to dietary restrictions, etc., etc., etc. That's the moral of the story. Moving forward, it says, command to distinguish between permissible and impermissible food, death for being a medium or seeking the help of spirits, prohibition of certain haircuts, cutting the beard, once again, and mutilating oneself, condemnation of taking an unchaste wife, taking a virgin wife, having a ritual leader free of defects, prohibition of performing rituals while unclean, touching a corpse makes one unclean. Interesting, beyond interesting, right? من غسل ميتا فليغتسل ومن حمله فليتوضأ. Very interesting. Permissibility of having servants, once again. You can be against slavery and servitude, that's fine. But be against it what? All around the board. And don't just make it a Muslim thing. Prohibition of blasphemy and insulting the Lord. Oppression. Do not charge believers interest. Again, treating servants good. Buying the freedom of servants. And then he talks about warfare. Warfare in the Bible, yes. Not just chapter 9. Kill them where you find them. Slay the idolater and the disbeliever. Not just in the Quran, but what? In your holy good book. Witnesses needed to prove accusation of adultery. Allahu Akbar. Taking an oath and rituals done with water. Concession due to hardship. Rukhsa. Allahu Akbar. Deeds can be unintentional. Deeds can be intentional and unintentional. Water can be used to clean oneself from uncleanness. Inheritance. Appointing a leader. Rules regarding oaths and vows. Husband has authority over his wife. Husband has authority over his wife. Once again, warfare. Making sure the law is allowed to be followed. Marrying the best. A judge should be just and not shy in judgment. The issue of camel meat. Concession due to hardship. Concept similar to zakat. Helping the poor and needy. Do what is within your ability. A judge should be just and not shy in judgment. Again, investigating matters. Important to have witnesses. Referring to the more knowledgeable. Appointing a king. Picking a righteous leader. Prohibition of witchcraft and summoning spirits. Some deeds can be unintentional. Different types of murder. Prohibition of taking property unjustly. Importance of having witnesses. Prohibition of being a false witness. Prohibition of cowardice. Options during war. Treating one's children equally. Returning lost property. Prohibition of imitating the opposite sex. Dress code for believers. Prohibition of falsely accusing chaste women. Prohibition of rape. Washing after wet dream. Prohibition of prostitution. Prohibition of illegal sex and illegal money for offerings. Prohibition of charging interest. Fulfilling vows. Allowing to eat a little from neighbor's food. Prohibition of kidnapping. Being lenient and doing business. Prohibition of delaying wages. Helping the poor and needy. Giving blows and not exceeding the prescribed limit. Concept similar to zakat. Spouses should be good to each other. People should have good manners with all. Servant owners should be good to their servants. The history of slavery in this country. I whip you, I beat you, I starve you, I violate you sexually in the name of the scripture. God mandated slavery. Alright, no problem. But God, Christ, also mandated kind treatment of the slave. And never to oppress the slave. And to break the back of the slave. And if you need to discipline your slave, you taking that leather whip and slicing through his or her flesh on their back, their neck, their faces, their ears, whipping them with a leather whip. How long is the whip? 6 feet long, with small pieces of glass and stone tied in the tail of the whip to rip through the flesh, and then to pour brine, salty water, vinegar, pepper water, and the wounds of the slave. Is that Christ-like? Did the Bible mandate that? So this book shows the great level of hypocrisy of people who abuse human beings in the name of Christ. Or in the name of Allah, unfortunately. That's the moral of the story. Moving forward, people should have good manners with all. Servant owners should be good to their servants, interacting with people with wisdom. Women should dress modestly. Allahu Akbar. You can't wear skin-tight clothes being a Christian woman. You can't wear mini skirt and high heels being a Christian woman. You can't be naked on a beach, nude, wearing a bikini or a bathing suit, claiming to love Christ. You have a crucifix around your neck. You claim to believe in the Bible, but you're bare butterball naked in front of all men to see. And a Muslim woman who walks by wearing the hijab, she's oppressed by her husband. She's ugly, she's fat, she has stretch marks, she has bad hair, that's why she's covered up. Her husband beats her and abuses her, that's why she covers up. The only reason why she wears hijab is because the men beat her and force her to wear hijab. And she's an extreme fundamentalist. How many times have we heard this, unfortunately? Even perpetrated, unfortunately, by some who claim to be Muslims. Wala hawla wala quwwata illa billah. Moving forward. Dislike of a woman having authority over a man. Allahu Akbar. Feminism. Blue pill, red pill. Guidelines for a religious leader: honoring the righteous elders, dealing with sinners wisely, being patient with others, and avoiding falling into sin. Servants should be good to their owners. Obey the leaders. Prohibition of adultery. Obey the leaders. Again, do good to all and fear the Lord. Spouses should be good to each other. Condemnation of guessing and assuming things without knowledge. So we see how extensive the table of contents is. Then it says various topics, 92 similarities. Similar amount of days for significant events, angels, names of angels, heaven, day of judgment, spirit possession, etc. All right. Moving along, because it's a lot, and we don't want this to be, too long. You guys get the point, from the table of contents. The reason for the book, the superiority of the learning. We'll take a little bit from the introduction. The author states, the purpose of this book is multifaceted. Firstly, it is to display the amount of similarities between the Bible and the religion of Islam. Indeed, there are differences, but this book is about the similarities. We're not here to discuss the differences. We're only here to discuss the similarities. Are there differences? For sure. Are there things added, taken out from the Bible? That's not the discussion. It's not the discussion. This is a huge task, and if one could accomplish it, then I think he could bring forth much benefit. I, by no means, have accomplished this task. Rather, I only accomplished what was within my small understanding as a Muslim. Islam puts a big emphasis on being qualified for teaching. You have to have credentials. Allahu Akbar. Beautiful speech by the author. I have never studied with any scholars, but I have took the time to read a lot of their works. Those with knowledge will see in my writing and my categorizing of verses and topics, I only sought to explain what was within my knowledge. The Salaf would say, Rahimallahu rajulan arafa qadra nafsihi. Allah be merciful to a man who knows his value, who knows his ceiling. The pilot who knows the ceiling of his aircraft, I can't go higher than that. That's my limitation. But within my limitations, I am going to fly. I'm going to do what I can, nothing more, nothing less. How much better would the world be? How much better would the Islamic world be if authors, callers to Islam, if they could acknowledge that? I don't have all the knowledge. I barely studied. I have a little bit, and I want to put it forth for the people. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. Moving forward, I have had a desire to bring forth this work for a while, and as time passed, I increased in knowledge. Eventually, I reached a point where I felt I was ready. In the future, I will edit this book as necessary, and I am open for any criticism. The truth is most important to me. Allahu Akbar. Secondly, the purpose of this book is to break down walls that people put up willingly and unwillingly. A lot of people do not realize that although we call ourselves by different names, our religions are very similar. All right. Now, the author, he explains, he expounds upon these things. Once again, this is not a critical book review. The intention of this is not to critique and to look after every single letter, sentence, paragraph, semicolon, comma. No, that is not the point. It is a general review. It is a general reading. It is a general representation. And if and when, and of course there has to be mistakes in a book besides the Quran. No book is absolutely perfect but the Quran. Period. End of discussion. Every human effort is going to have a mistake in it, an error in it, a flaw in it, one way or another. So if and when there are mistakes and inaccuracies in the book, it is not our purpose to say that the book is free from them. We have approved everything in the book from cover to cover. That is not our purpose. All right, and that's clear. If I had to criticize anything, I'll just give one example, just one, from page 310. The author says, prohibition of homosexuality and bestiality. He quotes from the book of Leviticus 18:22-23. You shall not lie with a male as with a woman. It is an abomination. Kalas. How can a church have a rainbow on the outside? How can a house of God have a rainbow on the outside? How can you support and condone men? And it clearly states, you shall not lie with a male as with a woman. It is a what? Abomination. Not it's natural, you're born that way, you can't help it. It is an abomination. It isn't a small thing. It's a major, major, major act of perversion. Love between two men. Period. It then states, nor shall you mate with any animal to defile yourself with it, nor shall any woman stand before an animal to mate with it. It is perversion. The author states, the verses display the prohibitions of homosexuality and bestiality. He then quotes, Prophet Muhammad said, if you find anyone committing the deed of the people of Lut, i.e. sodomy, kill the one who does it and the one to whom it is done. Reported by or related by Al-Bukhari. Now, that's a big problem. The hadith states, Man wajadtumu, or man wajadtum amila qawmi lutin fa'amul aw faqtul fa'ila wal maf'ula bihi, or bihadha al-ma'na. Even when you find someone committing the act of Lut's people, a bugger, as they say in the UK, alright? A sodomite, waliyadhu billah. A man who feels and thinks that it's natural and acceptable for two big, brolic, hairy, muscle-bound men to love each other and to sleep with each other, waliyadhu billah, and to sodomize each other, a'udhu billah min dhalik. If you find a man sleeping with another man, faqtul al-fa'ila wal maf'ula bihi, kill both of them. Both of them must face capital punishment. The sodomite and the one who was sodomized. Now, he says this hadith is collected by Bukhari. This is a major inaccuracy. This hadith is not collected by Bukhari. This hadith is collected by Ba'd Ashab al-Sunan, some of the people of Sunan, such as the Tirmidhi and others. And to be quite frank and quite honest, some of the ulama of hadith واستنكره بعضهم وعلّه يعني علّ هذا الحديث إعلالا. He said this hadith is inauthentic and this hadith is defective. It has hidden defects which cause it to be extremely weak. And of course other scholars deem it to be hasan, sound, etc. We're not here to discuss this or that. It's general consensus, scholars say, that sodomy, homosexuality between men is punishable by capital, is punishable according to Islamic law, capital punishment. That's generally accepted. But does that mean that the hadith is sound? Fiqh ruling is different than the hadith authenticity. Second of all, the hadith is not collected by Bukhari, and this shows, or it falsely allows a person or misleads a person to think that hadith not only is sound but in Bukhari, and that's a big problem. So inshallah ta'ala, hopefully the author will change that in the coming edition. And of course, this is an example of when you don't have all of the knowledge, before you write a book, you should present it to someone of knowledge. And I'm not saying I'm that person of knowledge. And you should present it to them what? Before and not after. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala surely knows best. Okay, there are many, many notable quotes in the book. We don't have that much time. We don't want it to be a very long thing. That's just one flaw, or what we say a specific sin. And this is very interesting. Inheritance. And you shall speak to the children of Israel, saying, if a man dies and has no son, then you shall cause his inheritance to pass to his daughter. Kalala. Tayyib. Another excerpt or notable quote, page 268, treating one's wives equally and the permissibility of polygyny or polygamy. If he takes another wife, he shall not diminish her food, her clothing, and her marriage rights. Alright, many people, they ask, if a man gets married to another woman, what are my rights? Many fools, and we say that because they are, unfortunately. There's no sugarcoating that. They're foolish to themselves. They think and they feel that if a man practices polygamy, he automatically is displeased with his first or second or the previous wives. And he doesn't like them, they're defective, something is wrong with them. And if and when many foolish women, Muslim and non-Muslim, they think that when he marries another woman, he's now going to ignore you and neglect you and not love you, not be attracted to you. He's not going to give you the time. And that's all from the shaitan. The man has one wife, one household. He takes on another wife, another household. He's only supposed to get bigger and better and stronger. Similarity, like no similarities. This verse displays the permissibility of taking more than one wife. Likewise, it shows that one must treat all his wives well. Alright. And then he quotes Surah An-Nisa. Then marry women of your choice, 2 or 3 or 4. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala should knows best. The chapter in a discussion of warfare, many beneficial things the author mentions. I wish he would have went a little more, push the dagger, insert the daggers deeper into the body for those who talk about warfare in Islam being a brutal, bloodthirsty religion that wants to kill and enslave, right? So really showing the violence mentioned in the Bible and warfare, and there's rules and there's etiquette mentioned in the Bible, and it isn't just an Islamic thing. Page 187. The king answered Daniel and said, truly your God is the God of gods and the Lord of kings and a revealer of secrets. Daniel 2:47. And there, as we say, all of the nooks and crannies, chock full of nuts, they say, pertaining to the coffee, bursting with flavor, right? Different fawaid, benefits that you yourself can read from 700 similarities between the Bible and Islam by Muhammad Amin. May Allah reward and bless the author. I personally thank you once more for your good thoughts of me and your kindness and generosity towards me, and you sending me a copy of your book. Thank you very much. For anyone, whoever wishes to send us their books for us to read them, benefit from them, share them, review them, help publicize and announce, advertise them, because it's all ta'awun ala birri wa taqwa. Let's keep it real. If you write a book, the book takes how much time from you? How much effort is taken from writing the book? And the book costs money. 400-page book isn't what? It's not free, right? So good advertisement, spreading the knowledge, sharing it in the different circles, fans, viewers, followers, disciples. It's all a part of it. Let's keep it real, right? And of course, me being an author, realizing that the more self-sufficient you are, and the less 9 to 5 worry and stress of bills that you have, the easier it is for you to what? To do what you're supposed to do, and that's right. And research. Instead of sweating and worrying about bread and Pampers and diapers, so on and so forth. So anyone who wishes to reach out to us and send us their work, please feel free to do so via HadithDiscipleshop.com. And alhamdulillah, we take a great deal of pride in offering this Islamic service among many other Islamic services. Once more, 700 similarities between the Bible and Islam by Muhammad Amin. Make sure you grab yourself a copy tomorrow or yesterday. Make sure you grab yourself a copy yesterday. Wallahu ta'ala alam. Thank you very much for watching.